TD Ryan Unleashed is brought to you by Scott Ziman, your State Farm Insurance agent in DeKalb. Call 815-748-3101 or stop by at 2587 Sycamore Road, Suite D in DeKalb. Like a good neighbor, Scott Ziman and State Farm are there. Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more at 824 West Lincoln Highway in DeKalb. Don't forget Kids Eat for Free on Thursday. For delivery or pickup, go to pizzavilla.com or call 815-758-8116. Eldercare Services of DeKalb. Safe, secure, and supported. Helping you stay in home where you want to be. Call 815-758-6550 or stop in at 1701 East Lincoln Highway in DeKalb or on the web at ecsdekalb.org. My Insurance Guy in Sycamore covers Medicare to auto care and everything in between. Stop by at 204 South Main Street in Sycamore. Call 815-899-0950 or online at myinsuranceguy.com. Welcome into TD Ryan Unleashed podcast number 60. Honored and privileged to have with us from our friends from Eldercare Services. We have Tara Russo. Who is Tara Russo, you ask? Well, that's funny you should ask, because I can tell you that Tara is an Illinois-based executive director currently leading the Eldercare Services of DeKalb County, where she oversees care for thousands of seniors, focusing on combating neglect and enhancing safety. She holds a Master of Science and prior experience as a program manager at Plows Council on Aging and attended Lewis University. Here is Tara Russo, or the Roos, as I call her. Nobody else calls her the Roos. So,
hi, how are you?
Great to see you, Roos.
Thanks.
And again, abuse. This is such a serious subject. Sadly, I researched this when I was going to talk to you. You've been on the radio with us numerous times, but we only talk for 10 or 15 minutes. Now we get to go deeper into this, and boy, when you become aware of elder abuse and what all it entails, it's some scary, scary stuff. And if you want to help Eldercare Services and others combat this, the 2026 Taking Steps Against Abuse is coming up here on June 15th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Tell us about that event, Tara.
It's every year on the 15th of June. It's World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. So this is a Strides for Change walk that we're having at Northwestern Medicine. It's outside on their little fitness trail.
Okay.
So it's really, we're just doing the walk to show awareness and provide education and just, bring light to the fact that this does happen locally. It happens all over the world, but it does happen right here in DeKalb County, and just making people aware and knowing that there's resources out there that can help them.
Yeah, I want to warn our listeners, we're going to get into it kind of heavy here, because this is a podcast and we're not restricted by the rules of the FCC. But again, it's so sad to read about this. I was telling you when I was doing research here for the interview today, the first thing I came across was an article from June 12, 2024. Woodstock man is accused of leaving elderly person on bathroom floor and not feeding him for 2 days. I just can't believe that it would be a person like that, Tara. And obviously you see this every day. I don't know how you guys can deal with it.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of it. Yeah, it's in every county. I've worked in DuPage County, Cook counties, DeKalb County, and, it's all over.
Uh-huh.
It happens, and, that's for, at least it was only 2 days and not a week.
Yeah.
But, it's all bad.
Well, let's see. We'll talk about this specific one. A Woodstock resident accused of leaving a 74-year-old man in his care. So he was the caregiver on the bathroom floor and not feeding him for 2 days. The Woodstock police were called to an apartment complex providing housing for seniors after receiving a call from two women who work for the Catholic Charity. So if they hadn't come by, Tara, they wouldn't have known about this, because they heard this guy screaming from the other room when they went to drop off the food there.
Yeah, that's horrible. Yeah.
The woman told police that for the past 3 days, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, they tried to deliver meals to the apartment where Lindstrom said the 74-year-old man lived. They said each day they refused the food, and on Tuesday they heard the man yelling from inside the apartment when police entered the apartment. Now, this is the graphic part, but again, we have to do this because it just illustrates how horrific this was. Police entered the apartment. They found the elderly man lying face down on the bathroom floor wearing a T-shirt and underwear. He appeared to have been malnourished and defecated and urinated on himself. The man told police that he had been lying on the floor for 2 days, adding that the police reported cigarette butts and ashes on the floor near the man. Lindstrom, the caregiver, admitted that he stepped over him to use the toilet.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, that just takes it to a whole nother level.
Well, yeah, and you're saying that they refused the meals, so obviously somebody was answering the door. They knew this senior was in the bathroom, and they just left him in there.
Right.
To me, I hope that son was arrested.
Yes, he was.
Yes.
Should
be.
Police told him that he couldn't care and didn't care.
Yeah.
The public defender defending him also said that, this is the sad part, too. Yes, he was arrested. We should make that clear. And is being detained, or will be detained. The public defender also said Lundstrom, the victim, is the only caregiver for the man, and he's not sure if when released from the hospital, the man will have anywhere else to go. And that's really the saddest part. Well, it's all sad, but, getting away from this monster, but then he has nobody else, right?
Yeah, well, I would say if he's in the hospital, more than likely because he's been on the floor and malnourished, he'd probably go to like at least a short-term rehab so that they could, create a plan from there, whether he would stay permanently or if he could go someplace else to live and get some services set up.
Okay.
For sure.
But again, this was a man who was allegedly the caregiver, and unfortunately, we have another story.
Well, he would be assigned an adult protective caseworker too in that county,
Okay.
who would then go to the hospital, do their investigation, work with the police, follow him, and stay with him until he has, some resolve of where he's going to go to stay to live.
Now, they use the term here, caregiver, Tara, but is that,
It's
did he earn,
loose in
sounds like
some-
this guy didn't earn that title.
It's pretty loose in some cases. If you're living with somebody or a family member, it's, technically called a caregiver. For adult protective services, in this case, he's an alleged abuser until
Right, alleged, yes.
Yeah, until it's substantiated. But not only is he passive neglecting him, that sounds like that's willful deprivation. He's locking him in the bathroom basically, and then also he's more than likely financially exploiting him because he's probably got some source of income coming to that home. It's not being used for his care, obviously. So you got financial, you got physical, you've got passive neglect and willful deprivation. So he will not go back with that caregiver, hopefully.
Okay.
at all.
And obviously, that caregiver will never give care again.
Well, he would go on at least on a statewide registry where
Okay.
he would never be able to be paid as a caregiver in our state of Illinois because
No.
he'd be on that.
I know we're blessed with Meals on Wheels. I did it a couple times myself, and this is an illustration of what, we talked about how important it is to bring that food, but it's even more important to check on these people, right?
That's the way I look at Meals on Wheels. Obviously, nutrition's so important, but really the other half of it is eyes on the house, eyes on the person, showing up every day, saying hi, delivering the meal, and then, taking a look around and seeing what's going on.
Yeah, that's so
we
important.
get referrals for them. Yeah.
Now, have you had cases like this where, again, if it weren't for these charities going around, they never would have known what this man was doing for such a long period of time?
Yeah, we get referrals from local agencies, from neighbors, sometimes family. The police department sometimes will get repeated calls for people who, maybe are just falling a lot. And we find out that they're living with somebody who's not taking care of them properly or making sure it's a safe environment for them. So, yeah, we get referrals all over the place. A lot of them come from the hospital, certainly.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and
Well,
unfortunately...
now, are they mandated? They're required to, right?
Mandated reporters,
Okay.
yep. If you're like in the healthcare field, if you're EMS, fire department, police, nurses, doctors, anything like that, you are a mandated reporter.
Okay, we'll get into nursing homes here a little bit later on, but again, there's some scary stuff here when we talk about that. Now, we talked about what the definition of neglects. They have the 4 Ds of medical neglect: duty, dereliction of deviation, direct cause, and damages. But when we talk about different ways, different types of abuse, we started to mention physical abuse. We can obviously understand that. Unexplained injuries, you just mentioned, untreated medical conditions, poor hygiene, dehydration, or missing mobility aids. Now, I understand dehydration because I just have been reading up on that. I guess 75% of Americans are dehydrated, and this is very serious to let an elder person just sit all day and not drink any water. I mean,
There's been 911 calls where they've asked the EMTs to come out and get them a glass of water.
Seriously.
Because they're home by themselves and maybe they don't have a caregiver or the caregiver doesn't get home for hours and hours and they're obviously thirsty and they need water. So that's a perfect example for our paramedicine program, which is connected to elder abuse program for like high 911 calls for things like that because there's a pattern and it's you think, well, why would you call 911 for a glass of water? Well, if you don't have somebody taking care of you properly or you're all by yourself and you can't get it, you really need that.
Now, we're talking with David Bird, again, who always tells us if you see something, say something.
Yep.
But he is saying the number one concern with the DeKalb Police Department anyway is domestic violence calls. And I would imagine that would tie in also with abuse calls because people get to report this. And who's keeping an eye on the caregivers? It's...
Oh, yeah, definitely. And also, adult protective services, some of the cases we see are just domestic violence growing old.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So those are those scenarios where you might have couples where it's always been this way and they've never gotten a divorce or the wife's never left or the husband's never left. and it's just grown old. And so now you have it in their senior years. Sometimes it can really go both ways.
I bet.
Sometimes you can have maybe the wife who is abused, and then now she's caregiver for him, and she's angry, and she's not having patience with him, and so she's kind of giving it back to him. We've had cases like that.
Oh, boy, because it's all built up through the years, right?
Yeah, so domestic violence grown old is what we do, and a lot of times we'll work closely with Safe Passage on cases like that, and refer back and forth with them. We work with all the police departments very closely.
So are you called out the way they are? Because we had our friends from the Ben Gordon Center. They say with a domestic violence call, they'll go out with the police department. If the police department can get them settled down, they'll leave them with the caseworker, and they can go on to police duties. And
yeah. Sometimes, we work too hand in hand with the police social workers they're employed through the police department and through Ben Gordon, and we also partner with them because a lot of times they'll work with the seniors, and so we'll try to coordinate as much as possible. But for physical abuse or sexual assault, we will see that person within 24 hours.
Okay, now is it mandatory separation? Like, because I know when inevitably it'll happen again, right? But as we saw in this case here, a lot of times people have no other choice but to go back and live with the person that they were fighting with, right?
We really do try to help those couples, especially the victim, either get an order of protection, some way to get that person out of the house, or we take them out of the house and help them find alternative housing, whether it maybe they're just in the hospital and then they go to rehab for a little bit, or maybe they need a hotel to stay at, or they need help getting into an assisted living. We try to do all of that and help them. Typically, you hope that they work with you and want to get that order of protection and go down the legal trail, but sometimes they don't. People, especially older adults, there's a lot of shame, a lot of embarrassment.
Sure.
Especially if it's like a son abusing the mom or something like that. Like nobody wants to admit that their child is hurting them or taking advantage of them. So that's really hard too. It's trying to get them to come forward and receive our help so we can stop the abuse.
Right.
Yeah.
And so often it is when you have more than one sibling. We had that in my own family. That would my mother writing checks that we other family members didn't know that she was doing. She had a private checkbook that my brother had arranged for her to have. And we all got very weren't aware of it and found out it was going on for years. And just the disappointment in my brother, and just to realize that can happen within the family with us, the other 5, just oblivious to what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, you never think, well, my brother wouldn't do that,
No.
or my relative wouldn't do that, but it happens all the time, all the time. Yeah, it's really disappointing.
So another emotional, psychological abuse. Now, this is something many of us didn't realize that changes in behavior, like rocking, sucking, or biting, is often a sign of emotional abuse, withdrawn, extreme fears or anxiety, and depression. And we've seen that with elder folks, where they're shaken, aren't they, to the core?
Yeah, like a lot of times the verbal assaults, you have threats of maltreatment. If you don't do this, I'm gonna put you in a nursing home, or I'm going to do this to you, or I'm going to take this away from you, or you can't have your pain meds, that kind of thing. Just withholding things, name calling, yelling, swearing, screaming. That's also a form of abuse. And
I saw a case on 48 Hours where they were the husband was trying to convince the wife that she had dementia and was losing it and was doing things around the house to make her think that she was forgetting things.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
Oh my gosh.
That's horrible.
How somebody can be that low, I just have no idea. Now, financial exploitation, that's something we just mentioned there, because oftentimes when the person takes over, they take over the checkbook as well, right? And you just have to trust that person to...
Yeah, it's tough because a lot of times we might go into a case, or we'll go into somebody's home for maybe they need some help, like in home care services, and many times we have to see what their financial background is, and a lot of times we'll notice if there's a lot of money being taken out by like a debit card. Sometimes you'll have a senior who is more homebound and maybe wheelchair bound or homebound, and they're not going to the ATM every other day, and they're not going to this gambling place every other day. Like you can see the different amounts that are taken out and what they're for. And
so you know what to look for, right? You can see that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And we'll have banks call us too, because they're also mandated reporters. If they notice some funny business going on in a senior's account, they will call us as well.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, well, that's good to know that people are looking out that way. 'Cause that's some scary stuff. And then caregiver behavior, caregivers isolating the seniors, being verbally aggressive, demeaning, or excessively controlling. And that's really scary too. I'm not going to let you see your grandkids, right? That type of thing.
Yeah. And that's a harder one to kind of deal with because, when it's if they're trying to withhold grandkids, that's a whole nother animal.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, if they're trying to withhold something, you can't have your car, you can't have your keys. I'm taking your purse from you. You can't have these medicine.
And there's no appealing that. There's no court. There's no, this is the way it is.
Yeah, I'm not going to go to the store for you unless you do this for me. Yeah, we've seen it all.
So when people become caregivers, I mentioned that I used to use the term become caregivers. Some of them don't seek it out. For instance, if my wife suddenly has trouble and now all of a sudden I'm going to become the caregiver, right? I don't sign a pledge or say, now I'm going to do this. You just...
Yeah. One of the things that I heard this recently when it comes to caregiving, because we deal with a lot of caregiving at our agency, but at some point in your life, everybody is going to be a caregiver. If you have a relationship with anybody, a parent, a child, I'm
taking care of my 16-year-old dog right now.
Yeah,
yes.
Any of it. Depending on what could happen, you could be a caregiver like that. One accident away from being a caregiver, or you don't know when it's going to really creep up on you. So it's really good to know that there are resources out there to help support you and give you, financial assistance, programs to choose from, support groups, counseling, all sorts of things.
Yeah, and the Eldercare, so we're going to talk about all the services offered by Eldercare services.
Yeah.
But I want to mention another one, too, because sadly, these both popped up when I looked up elder abuse in DeKalb County. I got one from Crystal Lake, though. This is from April 12th, 2025. A Crystal Lake man charged with abuse of women older than 60 years old in his care. A Crystal Lake man has been charged with hitting and abusing women older than 60 for whom he was a caregiver. According to court reports, they claim Nico Mabana, again, allegedly, hit a woman on her arms and hands, leaving bruises, and knowingly endangered her health or caused injury. That's what you're talking about, right, where he was threatening her. Last week, Judge Cynthia Lamb released him with he awaits trial, conditions including refraining from contact from the victim or any elder. Yeah, so we're talking about the man at Crystal Lake, another gentleman who was, and I use the term loosely, accused of abusing a 60-year-old woman. And it just all the stuff we were just talking about, that he, hitting her on the arms and hands, and then refraining from contact from other family members as well, and just really scaring the person. Aren't they?
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe not giving them access to a telephone is a popular one. Not giving them their mail, not having, seniors, especially like in my age group, getting older, internet's pretty important.
Yeah.
So not having access to that because they're withholding it, that can happen. We're probably going to see more of that in the future. But yeah, phone's a big one.
So blackmail, for lack of a better word.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Wow.
all sorts of stuff.
So again, those are just two articles that I came across here. Now, something I also came across here was the nursing homes. It says, what is the worst tag a nursing home can get? The worst tag is IJ, apparently, immediate jeopardy, which is commonly designated by letters JKL for the CMS survey grid. These tags indicate that a facility's noncompliance has caused or is likely to cause serious harm, injury, impairment, or death to a resident. So this is some serious stuff here, right?
Yeah, I know when there's reports of abuse within a skilled nursing facility, the director has to react immediately and conduct an investigation. They also have to call IDPH, which is Illinois Department of Public Health, and they'll come out and investigate as well. We don't really do a lot with the nursing homes. We're more community-based.
Yeah, okay.
We do have one part of the nursing homes. If there's financial exploitation, for instance, like let's say somebody at DeKalb County Rehab, somebody is in there and the son's in charge of making sure that like their social security check goes to the nursing home for payment.
Oh, okay.
And the son doesn't do that and just keeps it. That is financial exploitation, and then we will be brought into that.
Now,
to
there's
deal
some
with
places
it.
like my mother went to Luther Village, and my understanding was she turned all her assets over to them, and then she could stay there forever till.
That's a long. That's a what's that called? A community care retirement community.
Okay.
So CCRC. That's like Oakcrest, where you buy in an X amount of dollars, and then you still have some maybe monthly bills, but you're covered for
Okay.
life. And then if you were to run out of money, like I know at Oakcrest they have like the Good Samaritan Fund.
Right. Okay.
That people can donate to. So you would probably, if you run out of money and you live in one of those settings, You can eventually, you have Medicare, but you would go on like Medicaid too, to help cover, your medical stuff.
Okay, and again, Eldercare Services would be there to help us figure that out, right?
Well, if you have questions, a lot of times if you're in a CCRC, they've got wraparound services for you. You're going to be all set.
Okay. And I just want to mention, because I didn't know this, the IJ tag requires nursing homes to submit a plan of removal immediately, often requiring correction within 23 days to avoid losing Medicare or Medicaid funding. So they're motivated, right, Tara?
Yeah,
to
I
get
would
this
hope
straight?
so. If you get tagged, I mean, that can be like a $10,000 fine immediately or $50,000 fine.
Really?
Like, oh yeah, yeah. You get tagged. Like when they come through and do their annual inspections, you get tagged. I mean, that you can be financially hit as well.
Wow.
With
So
it.
again, we're learning more about elder care abuse. We're talking about the event that's coming up here on June 15th, the 2026 World Elder Abuse Awareness Walk. And we've been going through some cases here and want to get into what Elder Care Services does. But let's talk about the walk some more. So the walk will be, again, it's very symbolic. June is Elder Abuse Awareness Month. Now, you say that's worldwide, huh?
It is. It is. And what we're doing here in DeKalb County is actually Triad locally is going to be doing this with us. They're going to join in with
Now,
us.
who is Triad for those?
Triad is it's a local group that we have that represents law enforcement, community services, nonprofits, seniors, and it's basically a way for it's an educational group for keeping seniors safe and aware, and just available to all the different services. And like they just did a car check out at Kishwaukee College about a week ago. So free car check. They do different like summer socials, and it's just a nice awareness group where you get law enforcement, social service agencies together, and you get the actual seniors too.
Yeah.
All together to keep them aware and updated on what's available and what's going on in their community.
That's great. That's great to know.
Yeah, it's
Again,
really
so
good.
check it out again. Now, do we sign up for this? Or how do we write? There's a registration link right there.
Yep,
Isn't
you
it?
can register for the walk, and if you register, it gives you an option to if you want to get a T-shirt as well. But it's we're not doing it as a fundraiser. We're having it for educational purposes and to just give information into the community about what we do.
Well, I'm at the end of the baby boomer. I'm 66. So I'm right at the tail end of the baby boomer generation, and we know there's a lot of us, right? So a lot of us are getting older. So this all applies to many of us, right?
Well, it's starting to hit Gen X. I'm Gen X. I'm going to be 55 in September, so
Well, now let's talk some more about elder care services, what you guys do. Now,
Sure.
if you don't mind, can you tell us, give us one story, one case of, and hopefully resolve positively of a case of elder abuse here locally that you guys were able to resolve or help resolve?
Yeah, I think so. We've over the last few years, I mean, we've had some doozies, but we've had some cases where we had a client who had some dementia, some Alzheimer's. Her husband had passed away, and apparently she's living, locally, and she had family locally that was checking on her and coming in and making sure she was good. Apparently the husband who had passed away, a business associate from California, thought they would just come in. They were trying to basically take her back to California with them.
Really?
And just say, well, come on, let's go. And you can't just do that. First of all, there's family here. She has dementia. And her husband had some substantial assets. So, there was a lot of concern right there. Like, why are you taking them out of state? All of a sudden, you're saying that you have control of these businesses that the husband had. So, I mean, we literally had to get involved. We had one of our caseworkers. She stayed out there for like 10 hours with the police trying to clear things up, and that had gone on for a while. But long story short, client's still in the area, being well taken care of. Her money is safe, and she never got taken out of state. So that was a really good one. It was a lot of hard work on our caseworker who was with us at the time. She did a phenomenal job. That was Sarah. She did amazing. And then we've had another case too where we had a gentleman who basically was just running through his mom's money and keeping it for himself and buying extravagant things, different properties.
We should point out a lot of times
Yeah.
they're entitled, right? They think, well, this
Yeah.
is my money anyway, so I'm just going to
Well,
spend it.
mom's
early.
still alive, so it's not yours. And two, she's in a private nursing home for memory impairment, which she almost got taken out of because he wasn't paying the bill.
Oh, wow.
So, we had to go through the courts. We had to go through getting her a guardian. We had to keep her safe. We had to make sure that he didn't take her out of state. We basically saved, about $1.5 million from being,
Wow.
taken away from her.
Yeah, there was just another story I wrote. I know it's
Mm-hmm.
1.9 million. I didn't write down the actual story, bring the actual story, but another case of a woman exploiting a gentleman over a long period of time to the tune of about $1 million, almost $2 million.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
my gosh.
And now with the internet, we do scam presentations. We try to tell people to be very careful of, the online dating and meeting friends
Oh
online.
gosh, I watched
because-
the Dr. Phil shows and
Yeah.
shows like that where these seniors just get hook, line, and sinker. One lady
Uh-huh.
thought she was going to Catholic church. The daughter showed her that it wasn't a Catholic church, and she goes, "Well, I'm going to give them the money because they're going to do something good anyway." So she still tied them in with the
Yeah.
church somehow. It was
Yeah,
just-
and that's scary because, and it comes down to the fact that there's so many seniors that are lonely and they're just craving relationship and comfort and someone that they can talk to. And so we had a lady who was giving thousands upon thousands to some guy out of the country. She was going to go to Europe to meet him. We begged her not to. All I could think of was like, oh my God, this is going to be a forensic file case.
Oh, I know. It
I'm
sounds
like,
like
she's
one.
going to leave the country and not come back, because she's going to go there. They're going to take her money. She's going to see what they look like, and it's going to be a cold case or something.
Right.
And thank God she ended up coming back, but she came back. She lost every penny.
Oh,
But she came back, and we got her reestablished, got her housing, got her everything that she needed, warned her, but it's just, you can only, you warn people,
Right.
but it really woke us up to the fact that there's a whole segment of the population that is lonely, who don't have visitors, who miss having that companion. And that's what leads them down these little rabbit holes on the internet. That, next thing you know, like, oh, he's my friend. He's so nice.
well, yeah. Plus, they always give they grew up giving the person the benefit of the doubt. They just,
Yeah.
oh no, this is a good person. He's a police officer.
Yeah.
He wouldn't do this to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's heartbreaking.
Oh, it really is,
Yeah.
boy. And then when we talk about the dementia aspect, that's a wild card, isn't it, in there? Because could the person who's exploiting the mother or the father say, well, he has dementia, and and then do you have to
Yeah.
prove that then?
Yeah, and that happens a lot too. And we do our own tests as well. Like we determine, are we working in their client's best interest, or do they have capacity? And we will go through like a mini mental state exam with them. Sometimes we have to work in their best interest. We don't want to just leave. And sometimes if you have like a power of attorney, it's usually somebody in like a power of attorney situation who says, well, they're confused, so I'm going to do all this. And just because you're a power of attorney doesn't mean you can just take over whenever you want. They have to be incapacitated, before your duties set in.
Uh-huh.
So we've had to step in a number of times where we've gone to court and had to get like a temporary guardian, emergency guardian. We've gotten the GAL, the guardian ad litem, involved to look at both sides because, when you're looking at taking away somebody's rights to make their own decisions, that's huge. I mean, I've seen clients get upset over losing their driving privileges. They get really depressed about that, and I get it. But think about somebody taking your rights away to make daily decisions for yourself. You better be sure that that person cannot do that. And if that means having a neuropsych and having some testing done, you want to be positive. You can't just loosey-goosey say, well, that person has Alzheimer's and I'm going to do this.
Right.
It will come back to bite you. You
There
can't
was
do
a
that.
very famous guy, Stan Lee. I don't know if you know Stan Lee, all the Marvel comics. He created all the Marvel comics. And he goes around and does these Comic-Con shows. And it was a 60-minute thing they did. And these two managers were just pushing him beyond. They showed him sleeping, at this autograph session and forced him to do more autographs. And it was just like,
That's
and here's the
horrible.
guy's a millionaire, and yet was being exploited by the people just below him.
Keep making money. Keep
keep
in
making
money.
money. That's what it was.
That's horrible.
It was.
No,
So it can
wrong.
happen at any
He
level.
needs to just relax and enjoy his retirement.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Eldercare Services, and this is my favorite. I always quote this every time you come on. My promise to you is that you will leave our office with an answer, a plan, or a connection to a real goal to reach the goal that brought you to us in the first place. And that's the beauty of Eldercare Services, right? You've got all kinds of connections that if you can't do it, you know exactly who can do it.
We do. We're kind of like, for our county, we are your connection to the Illinois Department on Aging. We're not a government agency, but we have all those different programs, from information and assistance to casework and community care programs, benefits, setting you up with Medicare through the Senior Health Insurance Program. You have our elder abuse program. We have self-neglect. And that's why I say that, because you literally can come into our agency, you're a senior or person with disability, and something's just causing you problems. We're going to try and help you figure that out. We might not be the ending agency to help you with that problem. We make referrals to Ben Gordon Center. We make referrals to Family Service Agency. We make referrals to Safe Passage, work with the police department, the courts, you name it. We will try and get you connected to what you need to get you some type of resolution, and that's the key.
And sometimes you got to hit people over the head with the numbers. You had 3,000, this is just 1 year, 3,422 information and assistant calls, 858 senior health insurance programs, 340 apps, and 340 apps and 2014 care coordination. Now, what's a care coordination, Tara?
Care coordination, we offer case management. So all of our case management is free. You don't have to have a certain amount of money or lack of to have a case manager. You can have, everybody qualifies for one if you're 16.
So define case manager. So I mean, just my stuff, just my.
I like to call it like a professional daughter. Okay. So if you need someone, what we do is we come to you first of all, because a lot of seniors are homebound. We'll come to you. We'll have a visit with you, a friendly visit, and we'll find out, what are your physical needs? Do you need help with cleaning? Do you need help with bathing? Do you need help shopping? Do you have enough money to pay your bills? Do you have enough food?
So kind of a checklist you got.
Like, we go over the whole umbrella of it. How's the house look? How's it smell? Is your water running? Have you been to the doctor? Can I see your medications? Like, we look at all of it. And what we try to do is, we see there's some gaps here that you might need help with. What about, let's try and get somebody in here to clean once or twice a week. Let's get someone to help take you shopping or do your shopping for you. Let's get you an emergency button because you've been having some falls.
My mother would never wear.
Yep.
Yes.
You're having a hard time affording your medications. Let's get you in our money management program, and let's also look at your Medicare program and make sure that you can afford, your co-pays for everything. You name it. You need food. Let's get you set up with a food pantry, and your homemaker, your caregiver, can go out and pick up those groceries for you and bring them in. You need.
So you don't do anything unless you ask them first.
Well, everybody. We're not going to just come in and do. Like, this is something.
I think people are afraid of that. They're going to take over my house. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a program where you are in charge of your decisions. Okay. It's person-centered care. So we're only going to do what you allow us to do. And if you're not ready for this, but you want to try that, that's fine. Or you can just keep us, and we will check in with you at least quarterly and call you and say, hey, is everything still okay? Do you want me to come out? And we can kind of talk about revisit some of these programs. The whole goal of our programs, all of them, is to keep you in your own home. We want you to be able to stay there safely. We want to make sure you have supports in place and that you feel safe and secure. Most people don't want to have to run off to a nursing home. Mm. There's not enough of them anyway. And a lot of people can't afford assisted living. Most people want to be able to afford to stay in their own home. So we try to do that so that they can stay in that environment that they feel comfortable in. And the family can come see them, or, they can just live out their days at home. Nobody wants to be ripped out of their home.
And like you said, if as a society, it benefits us that they stay at home. It's less money for us out of our taxpayers.
It does, because, then you have people in your community who they vote, they participate, they pay their bills, they contribute to local businesses. They volunteer. They're a part of your community. And so they're a really important part. And we're a huge growing portion of the community. We have actually seniors over 65 have outnumbered the 0 to 5-year-old age as far as like,
Is that right?
yeah, a senior. And we knew this for the last 20 years that the senior population was going to like double.
Yeah.
And we're there, you know, we are definitely there.
That's great. Again, I love Eldercare services. I go to Cozy Corner. Again, you have classes, support groups, tech-savvy senior classes. We all need that. Stress busting for caregiver class. So that's one where you're working with the caregivers, right?
Yeah, we do have some programs. We have some grants where we do, we have a lot of caregiver programs. So if you need respite, if you're having stress, if you need a support group, you know, give us a call because we do have gap funding programs where if you need help paying for respite or you need equipment or you need help with whatever, we'll try and help you. And the other thing that we're doing right now, because unfortunately, Capper, that was in the back of our building, they're gone now because
It was the senior daycare.
they had to close because of financial reasons, which we totally understand. The reimbursement rates for adult daycare is just disgustingly low. But it is already prepped and ready to go to be something for seniors, and we're going to do that. I'm not sure exactly what month it's gonna hit, but we're applying for grants. We're getting things, you know, in order. We want to create this senior connections type of spot in the back. You're looking at like 5,000
Oh, it was.
square feet.
I stopped
We
by
want to
there.
do like a cafe, actually. We want to make it like a cafe. So seniors can come and drink coffee, hang out, have things that they can do. But the main part is they're there. And if they need help with anything, they are already at our agency and we can connect them immediately. But my whole goal for that is to have a space full of seniors, right? And the population's growing so much. Like we have Club 55, they have that down the road. That's a fantastic program too. There's room for both of us.
Oh, sure.
Quite honestly. There are so many seniors, both of us, you know, are going to be more than busy. And so, you know, I don't want to take anything away from them. They're great. But we also, the whole point is that building, we want to utilize every inch of it to better the community. So that's why we have the garden. That's why we're going to utilize this space. And then also if groups want to use it for meetings, if, you know, like the Kiwanis or, you know, different groups want to come and meet there, they can do that as well. But we're going to do something fantastic with it. It's a wonderful space. It's really cool. It's a nice setup. And if we can get some grants and find some deals, we want to try and set it up like a cafe and let seniors just come and hang out and drink coffee and see what transpires.
That's better than sitting on the hard plastic seats at McDonald's. And I know there's groups that do that.
I would like to see like a coffee house, you know, or maybe eventually we have musicians, you know.
Sure.
You're playing music, you're drinking coffee, you can, you know, you're playing cards, you're doing whatever you want to do, like, and keep it very contemporary. Like we're going to have to travel with the seniors as they age and what they're interested in. Like I'm going to be 55. What am I going to like? What am I going to want to do as I get older? I want to, you know I want to drink good coffee. I want to hear good music. I might even want to have cocktails at some point. So, you know, there's things that we're going to try and do to recreate that space so that the community can use it.
And you mentioned the garden soon. Also, I know you're very grateful that you had some of the 250 trees were planted by the township, planted right there at Eldercare Services.
Yeah, we had 16 trees. I was so excited that they picked us to use first. And it's just really, it's a nice organic garden that we've just little by little trying to grow. And so they came out. We have Sweet Life Garden Group that has like adopted us, thank God, because I do not have a green thumb.
It looks great.
Lori Brown is wonderful. And so they're doing some things with it too. We're going to have raised garden beds this summer. We'll have the trees. There'll be seating area. You know, anybody can come out there and enjoy it. Anybody can come out and
for we older gardeners, the raised garden bed are very beneficial.
Yeah. Don't hurt your back.
No.
You know, don't bend over and kill your back.
And as we wrap things up, I came across this. This is from August 26, 2013, FaceTime with Tom Scott. Tom Scott wasn't always looking out for the elderly in DeKalb County. In his 27 years working for the Sycamore Police Department, Scott was looking out for the whole community. He served as community service coordinator, a school resource officer, DARE instructor, and more. And for the past 5 years, now this is 2013, Scott has been taking calls coming of abuse and neglect for the citizens of this Eldercare Services at 330 Grove Street.
Oh, we love Tom.
Is this gentleman still around, or is he?
Yeah, well, he retired, He is, him and his wife are living out in those Granger homes in Sycamore over by the middle school. They live over there, and I think he might take care of them as maybe her parents. But no, he was with us for a long time. He still pops in quite a bit. And
What
yeah,
an
he's
asset to have.
fantastic,
Boy,
yeah.
now, is
Love
there anybody
Tom.
like to fill his big shoes? Have you got anybody that kind of?
Well, Kelly. We have Kelly Sullivan. She's a retired police officer as well, and she's with us. She does a fantastic job. She helps with some supervision. But we've had a lot of our staff. Janice has been there for over 10 years. Sherry's been there. She was our first intern. She's been in there for like 11 years. I'm going on 14. We tend to keep people. Half of our staff were interns at some point in time
Okay.
that we had and we hired. A handful of them. We tend to keep people. The high turnover positions tend to be elder abuse because it's a hard job.
Oh, I can't imagine
And doing
doing that.
casework for elder abuse, like to do that long term, they'll tear you up. You need to have a break occasionally from
Well,
that.
just researching this in the articles I cited, I got so angry. I just, if it was somebody that I knew or was related to, I don't know what I would do. I really can't say that I wouldn't do something harsh. I mean,
Yeah. It's hard. I mean, I got into this because I love seniors, and my grandmother lived with my aunt, and I had found out some things about my uncle was taking advantage a little bit of her, and you want to make a change. You see something at home, that's what I decided to do. She stayed at the DeKalb County Rehab too, as well. So that's a place that's still near and dear to my heart. I'm not crazy about nursing homes. We break people out of them, but that's one of the ones I do like.
that's a special place.
It does. It is, and we need to keep that in the county and the community and not private. So I'm really glad that worked out. But we need to really take care of our seniors, and there's a lot of them out there right now, and even now too, you're seeing over the last year or so, like mental health in adult children who have hurt their parents. Shedding some light on that. I know the DeKalb County Mental Health Board and area providers are trying to create some supports in that category as well. So that's a really good thing and much needed.
Yeah. Boy, it's so complicated. Such complicated issues there.
It is. It is.
And
A lot of
you're
mental health.
you're tell us about your time growing up. Now, I know you were a softball player. Did you grow up in Sycamore? Is that where you?
I did. I was born and raised in Sycamore.
Must have dipped your toe in the kish.
I did. I've done some canoeing down there. I'm not going to say with what. I made a cooler.
And played softball at Lewis University?
Yeah, I played at Sycamore, and then I played at Kish. I was at Kish for a couple of years, and then I transferred to Lewis University. That's a D2, and I still talk to my coach all the time. He lives out in Vegas. He's in the same town as my brother, and we talk all the time. He got inducted into the Hall of Fame for Lewis coaches a year ago, and we went to it. So like I was known for softball, Tara Milanovic, the pitcher or whatever. But my daughter never, didn't decide to go into softball. She killed me. But she's in volleyball. So now we go to our kids' things. Like my son plays football at Rose Holman. My other son Ryan's graduating on Saturday from
congratulations.
from St. Ambrose, and he does cheer there. They've been national champs for 3 years in a row.
Okay.
NAIA. My daughter she's looking at colleges. She just got an offer from a school. So it's exciting. We're busy usually going either between Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana for sports. So when that gets all done, I don't know what I'll do.
Now, you have a Master's of Science. What does that entail there, the Master of Science?
Well, I went back. I waited 5 years. I wanted to work a little bit. I was at Eldercare when I started my grad program at National Lewis University. And I did like a cohort. So I didn't go the social work route. I was actually going into therapy and counseling and gerontology. That was like my focus. So
Studied of the aged, right?
Yeah, so I was going to do like licensed professional counselor or something like that. But then, I got married, I had kids, and I graduated, and I had my master's. I took a few of the tests, but I ended up getting into the administrative side of things. As a manager at DuPage County Senior Services for a long time, and then I was at Plows, which is now Pathlights. That's Palos, Lamont, Orland, and
that's what
Worth,
that
and
stands for.
Stuckney
Okay.
counties.
I was
That's
trying to figure
no
out the
Plows
acronym.
out there
Okay.
because it's Cook County. Because I lived in New Lenox at the time. And then when I decided to move back here, I mean, the stars aligned, and they had a position open at Eldercare, and it was like a last minute. They got me in for an interview, and I'm just so grateful that they took a chance on me.
Well, I've gotten to know you through the radio station, like I said. I know you
That was
guys
fun.
at Eldercare have been
I miss
battling
it.
because, again, a lot of people think you're a government agency and they don't need my money. But I think once they find out what you do, like a program like this, realize all that you mean to the community here, that they would gladly help out any way they can. So if
Yeah.
they can't make this, so again, the walk is coming up, 2026, the World Eldercare Abuse Awareness Walk, from 11 to 1 p.m. there, again, at the Northwestern Medicine Health and Wellness Center. That's at 626 Bethany Road in DeKalb. But if they can't do that, can they donate? How can they donate?
Yeah, you can go online on our website. You can give us a call. You can stop by. I know with Give DeKalb County, we're so grateful and so thankful for people that have reached out and donated to us. It's amazing, and we appreciate it. We've kind of had the last 23, 24. We had some tough years because we had some grants that we had lost or dried up, and then our state funding. We're always busy. It's just the timing of payments, our cash flow.
Sure.
It's hard because we kind of are at the mercy of the state. But it always works itself out, and we're back in going in the positive direction again. So
it's so hard to
yeah.
budget when you don't know when the money or if the money is when it's going to come in.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
we write so many grants. I mean, tons and tons. But honestly, I feel like grant writing outside of this county, it's like you're doing a term paper for a lottery. You're just writing a term paper and shooting it for a lottery and just hoping it sticks.
Let me ask you a bogus question here.
Sure.
Do you ever think about using AI, or can you use AI to write those?
Oh, heck yeah, we do. I love it.
I mean, why not, right?
I call my chat GP, his name is Chucky. And, it's work smarter, don't work hard, work smart. And it really does help because, there's no point in reinventing the wheel for every single
Right.
grant. You have to be smart about it. And there's so much competition, because they're looking for the best of the best. So, anything that you can do to generate, that kind of help to gather information and, just be very careful what you're doing, but you have to run with the whole AI and chat and stay up with all of that kind of stuff, all the digital marketing, that sort of thing. You have to, if you don't stay up with these things, it will pass you by.
I believe it.
Yeah, and you'll lose out for
Yeah.
sure.
So in closing, I'm going to go back to the Tom Scott article. The last thing they ask him is, how can people help senior citizens and adults with disabilities? And he says, first of all, just day-to-day activity, be respectful and helpful to seniors and adults with disabilities. Treat them with courtesy and respect and offer any assistance they might need. If you see someone that may be in a vulnerable position or may be neglected or at risk of harm, call the office, and they have the old number, 758-6550. We will follow confidentially regulations, so any calls that come in are considered confidential. Right?
Everything's
So-
anonymous. We cannot share reporters' names or information, and we will not. We've actually been, taken to court for that, and we're like, we will not do that. We can't. Just speak up, say something, and really, we're not trying to just get people in trouble either.
Right.
If we can, many times it's family members who just didn't know what else to do. They were desperate, and they still had to work, but they're trying to take care of mom. They can't afford to put her in a nursing home. There's no space there. We just try to help build, bridge those gaps so that, mom or dad are safe. That's all. We don't want to come between families. We want families to be happy and cohesive, but we do know there's, dysfunction everywhere. So,
Well, DeKalb is such a melting pot. I saw the breakdown of the races and stuff. But so many other cultures have more respect for the Asian culture, and specifically I'm thinking of, and our Mexican community too. A lot of the uncles or the grandparents are still living at the house, and we can learn something from that, can't we?
I think so. That's one thing, like with the different demographics. A lot of times in aging, they'll say, well, we need to get like the Hispanic and Latina demographics up. What are we doing to offer? Well, we do all that outreach, but at the same time, these are certain cultures that have, historically taken care of their elders. And even to this day, you have multifamilies living together, taking care of the grandmas and grandfathers, and that's huge respect. Our numbers are low in those areas, and that's why. It's not because they're not reaching out for help or we're not finding them. A lot of them don't
Have
need
that
it
support,
and don't
yeah.
want it. They have that family support built in. But we have had more in the last probably 10 years, come see us, and we want them to come to us so we can help them with services.
All right. Well, you keep up the great work. Tara Russo, the
Thanks.
Roos, only to me. Again, always a pleasure. And again, you're the tremendous folks you have working over there at Eldercare Services.
I have a great
Keep up that
staff.
great work. And don't forget about the walk again coming up on June 15th there at the Northwestern Medical Health and Wellness Center, and that's at 626 Bethany Road in DeKalb. Thanks so much, Roos, for your time.
Thank
we appreciate
you.
it. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
And that's TD Ryan Unleashed podcast number 60.